What's up, everybody? Mike Camarado again with Learning God Ministries. And this week, I want to talk about the F word. Yeah, well, it is a word, begins with the letter F. It kind of keeps us together. It's something that keeps us glued, bonded, strong. Keeps our faith, even though that is an F word. That's not the F word I'm thinking of. The F word I'm thinking of is family. Family is such a strong word. Now, right away, when I say family, you think of the people that live in your house. Your mothers, fathers, brothers, uncles, aunts, sisters, children. That's immediate family. But family is also your friends, who is around you, who you stay with. That's your family. It's your family of people that you stay with. Family makes you strong. Now, this has been very difficult, and I've been asked this question quite often. And my answer is, I don't know. And here's the question. Mike, I'm a Christian. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I believe there is an afterlife, and I believe that we are going to heaven after our bodies die. Now, Mike, what can I do to members of my family, my immediate family especially in this case, that don't believe in God, want nothing to do with God, don't believe in Jesus? How do I live like this? How do I get them to understand who God is, who Jesus is, that there is a heaven? How do I do that? Because, now listen, I can't say, I didn't know any of this stuff 4 years ago. Because I would have been, I said, oh, look, whatever. Heaven, whatever you believe, it's fine. But now I know that you do go to a heaven or you don't go to a heaven. Those are the two options. Now, what happens when you get there and your family, who doesn't believe in God, members of them, don't get there because they didn't believe? You want the best for them. You try to raise them right in the house or whatever, your husband or whatever. You love everybody. You're in your home. And you don't ever want to have that rift where you're going to heaven and they aren't, or they think they're going, because maybe you have an interfaith marriage. Maybe someone's Jewish in the house. Maybe the spouse is a Christian. I'm just giving as an example. Jews, I'm not singling anybody out, but there's that butting of heads like, I know how to get into heaven. No, I know how to get into heaven. For me, my story is there is one way to get into heaven, and that's to know God through Jesus Christ. That's it. This isn't what I decided. I didn't wake up one day and just decide that this is what I want to believe. This is what I was shown, told, and done 4 years ago. This is the absolute message. Now, how do I get that message out to other people? How do you train other people in your house to actually maybe scratch their heads and say, I don't know. Is he right? Maybe. I don't know if he's right. I'm trying to talk in the most simplest way possible. I know that sometimes if you bring a non-believer to church or to a worship service, and depends where you go, I know sometimes it's very either boring or it's extravagantly over the top, where it's just too much and it doesn't seem like they're in reality. I got it. I understand. Because that's the way I was too. Even though I went to church up until the 8th grade, it was just Catholic church. I was bored. And then how do I get other people, later on in my life to drag them to this boring event? And it doesn't mean church is boring. It means where I went was just dull. And it didn't attract me to believe in God or know Jesus or whatever. That had to happen outside of church. That happened to me when I had my near-death experience. It had nothing to do with church. That's how I found God. Yes, that's how I knew God existed and that Jesus was the way to get there. So how can I tell others and help other people, their families, to understand that, I just got to know God. I don't have to do things because you know what? You can't do anything that's going to get you into heaven. There's no doing something. There's no playing on rosary beads. There's no rituals that you have to perform. So get it out of your heads. None of that has to be done. You just have to know God through Jesus, and that's it. And do stuff for him here on earth. But how do you get your family members to do it? Maybe they're afraid to go to church. As I said, maybe they're either think they're going to be bored or they're going to be, hey, this is not reality. I don't know where we are right now, but this isn't a religion for me. Organized religion, as much as people do it, is not the greatest way to go. And I told you some of these messages were going to be a little, what are you saying, Mike? How could you say what you're saying? I love going to church. I got it. But don't love just the feeling of going to church. Of course, love it. Yes, it's good. If it's a good feeling to go, that's great. Plus, you're doing, the God thing, that's great. But how do I get the non-believers to feel the way I feel? And the answer is simply, I don't know. Maybe something will happen one day in their lives. Maybe something won't happen one day in their lives. I don't know how they're going to be able to get there later on. If they even ever decide to know God through Jesus. I don't know. And if they don't, look, that's a very real fact that can happen. I don't want to go without my family to heaven. And yet, billions of us have. You're there, you're going to recognize some people just by their spirits. You're not going to see their body. It's going to be a little different because when you're there, you're not going to be thinking like a human being. You're not going to have all the worry and the fret that you're having now. And I know that's hard to believe too. But once you're there living with God in heaven, if your loved one isn't there, yes, you're not going to see them. But the ones that are going to be missing out is them. If they don't get right with God, know Jesus, and just pay attention to him while here on earth. It's easy to do, and it's easy not to do. So get with your family. When they see how you live, if you live, with these rituals and these crazy voodoo things and whatever, if you're going to be doing stuff like that, chances are other people in the family might, because you're going to lead them by example, especially your kids. Nothing's easier. Well, it's still not 100% that if you have both people in the house that are both Christians, and then the kids grow up, and it's pretty good that they're going to be Christians. Not saying they're gonna, pretty good idea that they're gonna. It's like you grow up in a house of smokers, chances are your kids are gonna smoke. Chances. So, doesn't mean that they're gonna. All right, so that's it. Get with your family. Pray to God. You don't have to do it with them. But listen, if they see you doing it and they see that you're treating life with God in it, maybe some of them see what's going on. And maybe they say, okay, you know what? I want to know a little bit more about this heaven, this God, this Jesus guy. Saving someone there's no art. The art is to scare them away. If you're going to bring them to a church, nothing gets rid of them faster than a brash, beating pastor. That gets rid of them really quick. So maybe you could find a place that's pretty down to earth, that's fun to go. Introduce them to a church. And if it's kind of down to earth, hopefully it is. I know not all of them are. Maybe your family will catch on. And they'll catch the fever of knowing God through Jesus Christ. All right, so that's my message. I'm not knocking any churches. Churches are good. You just got to make sure you're going to be able to get to the right one that's going to, that's going to support your family and be in it for your family. All right? So that's it for this week. Keep your family in mind, and whatever you do and whatever you do with them, make sure you do it all with God. All right, take care.